Managing your assets correctly, keeping a low profile, and building serious wealth are some of the top priorities for many high earners. But one of the biggest challenges many people face is figuring out how to do this the right way. Should everything be owned by your trust? Should your LLCs, your business interests, even your kids' assets fall under it? And how do you stay anonymous? How do you protect yourself from lawsuits and keep your name off public records? Today, I'm going to answer all this and much more. Let's dive in. Accessing gated information. On this channel, we break down complicated tax topics and we translate them into language that everyone can understand so you can leverage the tax code to grow your wealth. A lot of powerful information is hidden away by the government and wealthy elite, but I believe it's time you had access to it. Here's something you absolutely need to know. One of the most critical elements of financial success is asset protection. I get this question all the time. Karlton, how do I ensure my assets are under my trust? And there are many follow-ups. Do I need an irrevocable trust? A revocable one? What about this dynasty trust I heard about at a seminar in Las Vegas? People get excited by all these advanced structures, but here's the truth. My mission is to help you avoid unnecessary expenses and to focus only on what truly serves your goals. Over the years, I've met many taxpayers who have spent thousands of dollars on complex trust setups they didn't even need. I have had countless meetings where they explain to me all of the complicated trust structures that they currently have that cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to set up, or they'll tend to tell me about the incredibly elaborate trust structure that they're thinking about implementing. Here's the thing. None of that is needed. In fact, today, I want to simplify all of this. I'll break down how to structure your trust properly, the stages to consider as you move through trust asset protection, and how to approach this strategically. And if you've already created a few trusts, don't worry, you're not behind. This video could help you make the most of what you already have going on. Keep in mind, I am not an attorney, so you will need to speak with an attorney after this video. So let's dive in. Phase number 1, income building. This is where everything starts, the foundation of your entire wealth building journey. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people jumping ahead to complex asset protection strategies without first mastering their income. They've watched a few YouTube videos, attended tax workshops, or gotten advice from someone who swears by setting up 4 trusts, but they're missing the basics. If you haven't built enough income yet, then you need to be putting most of your focus on this, not asset protection. Asset protection only matters once there's something meaningful to protect. So if you're still only making 5 figures and you haven't moved into the 6-figure or better yet, the 7-figure range, this shouldn't be your top priority. After you're making roughly around 200, 300,000, then we can start focusing on asset protection. But right now, when you're watching this video, if you're still trying to cover your monthly bills or juggling credit card payments, your focus shouldn't be on trust or estate planning. You should focus on creating cash flow, increasing your business revenue, and getting a raise, because having more income streams and increasing your income is what matters the most for you. I don't care if it's through your business or a high-earning W-2 job or freelance 1099 work. Even if you picked up day trading, whatever it is, just build your income. Don't underestimate the power of focused, intentional income growth. Even small but consistent increases in revenue can compound quickly over time. Once you're bringing in at least 6 figures or multiple 6 figures per year, the next step is creating financial breathing room. Build an emergency fund that covers 6 to 9 months of expenses, plus an additional buffer that gives you peace of mind. From there, you can start laying the groundwork for real protection and long-term strategy. This foundational layer allows you to navigate financial challenges without panic, and the stability is what makes more advanced strategies possible down the road. Phase 2 is asset accumulation. Once your income is on point and you've gotten your bag, it's time to shift gears and start building your net worth. This phase is all about expansion, getting your money to work for you in a smart and strategic way. You should be investing in a mix of assets that align with your goals and your risk tolerance. For many people, this starts off with retirement accounts, index funds, and ETFs. Eventually, as your financial confidence grows, you can be exploring other investment opportunities such as rental real estate, which I often highlight because it brings the trifecta, which is appreciation, depreciation, and principal paydown. What I mean by this is that the asset appreciates over time, but you get to claim depreciation and your tenant pays the principal down over time. These 3 factors work together to generate both cash flow and long-term equity growth, something few other investments can do effectively. That's why I constantly talk about real estate on this channel. However, if you're not a real estate person, that's okay. There's many different assets that you can invest in. For example, you can invest in oil and gas wells, Bitcoin mining opportunities, small-based businesses. You can invest in blue chip tech stocks, precious metals, and much more. But many of these investments have great tax benefits as well. Here's the trap. People hear the word trust and think they need one yesterday. The reality is, if your asset base isn't large enough, you're not ready for this step yet. I've seen people with less than $200,000 in investments already looking to set up dynasty trusts or offshore entities, and it's just not necessary. What matters most at this stage is just growing your net worth to 1.5 to 2 million. That's what matters. That's typically the point where it becomes worthwhile to start thinking about advanced protection strategies. Until then, keep your focus on smart asset accumulation, not overcomplication. Diversify intelligently. Take advantage of tax-advantaged accounts. Avoid chasing trends that don't align with your long-term goals. If you are not sure what assets to invest in, then by all means, work with an investment advisor to help guide you. Your goal should be to acquire assets that either appreciate in value, produce cash flow, or offer great tax benefits like being able to write off depreciation. The more benefits your assets have, the better. Now, once you have acquired a comfortable 7 figures in assets, congratulations, then it's time to move on to phase 3. Phase 3 is organizing your assets. Once your portfolio reaches a certain threshold, organization becomes key. You see, at this point, it's time to start thinking seriously about how your assets are held and how they interact with your overall wealth strategy. I use what's called a T formation structure with my clients. The T structure puts active income on the left side and assets on the other side. There is a trust at the bottom of the structure. This helps simplify how different parts of your financial life are managed and protected. It's in this phase that the trust starts to play a meaningful role. For 99% of high earners and successful investors, a basic revocable living trust, or RLT, is all you're going to need to start. Yes, there are irrevocable trust, dynasty trust, and asset protection trust, but most people don't need them right away. What you do need is to make sure the assets you've worked so hard to build are properly owned. If you own a rental property through an LLC, that LLC should eventually have its interest transferred over to a trust. If you're part of a real estate syndication, assign that interest eventually to your trust upon death. Why go through this process? Because trusts give you more privacy, more control of what happens when you pass, and a smoother process to avoid probate, which means your beneficiaries receive their inheritance faster with fewer legal headaches. It's also important to note the cost involved. Setting up a solid trust is going to range between $2,500 to $5,000 on average, depending on the complexity. And if you're not yet at the right phase, that money could be better used elsewhere, like acquiring more assets or investing in income growth. The key is timing and being strategic with your planning. So for phase 3, focus on the revocable living trust. Okay. Now let's move on to the 4th and final phase. Phase 4 is estate planning strategies. Once your assets are protected with your revocable living trust, the final layer is estate planning. Now, this phase is all about long-term legacy. When your estate grows past certain thresholds, say over 14 million, you risk triggering estate taxes that could take a huge bite out of what you would leave behind to your heirs. But with the right plan, you can minimize or even eliminate those taxes while you're still alive. Sounds pretty awesome, right? So this is your chance to get intentional about the future. You might start gifting assets to your children, or moving things into specialized trusts, or restructuring how property is titled. The goal is to ensure your family doesn't face unnecessary tax bills or legal headaches after you're gone. So think of this stage as the ultimate act of love, protecting your heirs from the emotional and financial stress that comes with poor planning. I've been there myself, hearing something at seminars or from a mentor and just wanting to implement it right away. But I've learned that rushing this process leads to overspending and ultimately confusion. Taking it step by step, phase by phase, gives you a roadmap that's efficient, it's cost effective, and it's far more powerful in the long run. It's not just about dying with a will, it's about living with intention and leaving behind clarity. So in this phase, this is when it can be a good idea to work with a tax professional and an attorney to see if it makes sense to implement super advanced trust strategies that go far beyond a revocable living trust. But for most people, a revocable living trust is going to be good enough. But in some cases, for high net worth individuals, a more sophisticated trust structure can make sense, especially if you're going to have an exit event. Reach out to my company by clicking the link below to book a call in the description if you're interested to learn more about this. At the end of the day, the wealthy don't just build wealth, they protect it, they organize it, and they pass it on strategically. And the good news is that now you have access to the same information and strategies. Follow these 4 phases and follow the strategies that I've outlined: income generation, asset accumulation, organization, estate planning. If you follow these 4 strategies, you will be on the path to building true generational wealth, not just short-term financial success. Because let's face it, this isn't just about making money, is it? It's about freedom, freedom of time, freedom to create memories, and the ability to give your family a head start. Protecting your wealth isn't complicated when done in the right order. And when it's done right, it changes everything from how you live today to the legacy you leave behind tomorrow. Okay, that's it for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.